What's up, Hellions, and welcome to my first impression slash kind of review of the first few hours of Genshin Impact. Now, Genshin Impact to the uninitiated might just look like a Breath of the Wild anime clone, but to people who have actually played it, we know that that's not actually the case. Now, there are definitely some similarities to Breath of the Wild in which I will be comparing the game to Breath of the Wild frequently throughout this first impression slash review, and I think it's okay to do so given that the Genshin Impact developers actually came out and mentioned how big of an influence Breath of the Wild was to this game. But first, I want to start off with what the general plot of the game is so far. So at the very start of the game, this kind of mysterious giant battle happens where you and one of your siblings, actually a twin, are fighting off against what is a god of Teyvat. Teyvat being the land in which the game takes place. Now, the game quickly gives you the choice. Do you want to play the female character or do you want to play the male character? Which I, of course, wanted to play the female character because come on. So after you choose a sibling, the other twin gets kind of encrusted in this weird multi-dimensional geometric block shape stuff and then disappears without a trace, and so does the god. The god disappears as well, and you are kind of stuck here in Teyvat. So the general plot at the very beginning of the game is that you are on a mission to find your sibling, your brother or sister. And this is where the game kind of really starts, where the gameplay starts. It kind of just throws you in the world of Teyvat, which is this vast open world landscape. The graphics are very similar to Breath of the Wild, kind of that painted, cel-shaded look. Every time I turn around, there's this awesome, colorful, just gorgeous view that you would not expect from a phone game. When I was growing up, fucking phone games were like Tetris and Snake, and now we're playing full-on Breath of the Wild style JRPGs on our goddamn phones. It's insane. It's a good thing, though, the game is not only on mobile. It is on mobile, and it's free on mobile, but it's also free on PlayStation 4 and PC. So after you get dropped into this world, you move a little ways, and then you're introduced to Paimon, and Paimon is kind of like your Navi of this game, I guess. He's like this little celestial being character that kind of points you in the right direction, and is the comic relief of the game as well. I don't know about the Japanese voice acting, but the English voice acting of Paimon, it's like nails on chalkboard. It's so frustrating because her dialogue is actually pretty funny. She's got some really hilarious moments, but they're projected in this voice that is just I just can't get it out of my head. So as you and Paimon traipse around Teyvat, this giant open landscape, you come across this big dragon. Now, about 100 years ago, there was a large battle that happened, and darkness was taking over the land, and Storm Terror, or the god of wind, faced off against darkness, against this terrifying dragon that was destroying Teyvat. It was a battle to the death, and the god of wind destroyed the darkness, and for the last 100 years, there has been peace in Teyvat. The god of wind disappeared about 100 years ago after the battle happened, but has reemerged now and has noticed that people don't really give a shit about him. He nearly died to save all of these people, so he is a little pissed off. The god of wind, or the dragon now called Storm Terror, is your official main enemy bad guy of the game up until this point. So now that we've got the quick story synopsis out of the way, let's hop in to gameplay. Now, as you can expect, I'm going to compare some of the gameplay mechanics to Breath of the Wild. The world, traversing in the world, collecting ingredients in the world, all of that stuff, cooking, is very similar to Breath of the Wild. There's lots of stuff scattered around the world you pick up, but the difference between this game and Breath of the Wild is that this game's map is a bit smaller than Breath of the Wild's map. Everything feels a lot more evenly distributed. So you don't have to walk very far to find a new chest or to find more ingredients or to find a new bad guy encampment. There's always something you're running into when you're out in the world. And I felt like playing Breath of the Wild, there were large stretches where the map almost felt too big, where you were traveling across the area, but there were large sections of the map that were just kind of desolate. There wasn't really much going on, and it kind of slowed down the momentum or the pacing of the game just to kind of travel from point A to point B. In this game, it's almost the opposite. There's so much to do in between A and B that you find yourself going off on tangents over and over and over again before you actually get to where your next quest marker is. So I would say the main difference between this game and Breath of the Wild is the combat. Right now, I have a 4-person party. All 4 characters I've gotten through story. There was one character that I got through kind of the gacha mechanics of the game. So each character is kind of situated with a class. They kind of carry a specific weapon, and monsters in the world drop better weapons. You can buy better weapons. You can get better weapons from the gacha mechanics of the game. You can also enhance those weapons as well. Also, each character is kind of imbued with their own magic. So right now in my party, I have one character that's fire, one character that's ice, one character that's lightning, and my character is wind. So what makes the combat of this game cool is that you have your normal attack, you have a quick magic attack, and then you have a special. Whenever you use your quick magic attack, you're increasing the gauge for your special, and then when you have your special available, it's like this awesome big move that usually is an AoE. It takes out many enemies at once, and it's super cool. What I found super fun is they've placed enemies in the world that rely on kind of the rock, paper, scissors mechanic, where a certain type is better against another type. So if you run up on a fire enemy, you want to use a water type, or if you run up on water or you're fighting in water, you want to use your electric type guy. In the game, you can instantly switch your character as well. So if conditions change, which there are times in which you can hit certain stones and break, and then all of a sudden it starts raining, and then you want to switch to your electricity person, in those situations where it changes, you can easily switch back and forth between characters that are most effective in the situation you're facing. Last but not least, I'll talk about the dungeons. There are dungeons in the game that I think you can do co-op multiplayer with other people who have the game if you want. So the dungeons I have encountered so far are through the story missions. The story takes you through particular dungeons at a lower level, and then you can actually go back through the dungeons at higher levels to get better loot. So I feel like that's kind of where the grind of the game is going to happen, is in these dungeons where you're going to do those over and over and over again to get better loot at higher levels. There's also two different leveling systems. There's your combat level, and then there's your adventure rank. Your combat level you get through combat and through drops in the world, and then you're able to apply those drops to up your combat level. The adventure ranks are gained, as far as I can tell, through just adventuring around the world. So there's lots of chests in the world. You open those chests, I think you get a boost to your adventure rank, and so on. You explore, and you get more adventure rank. What's interesting is there's whole parts of the map which you can't go until your adventure rank is high enough. So the more exploration you do of Teyvat, the more you can explore Teyvat. Normally, I'm not a huge fan of being level gated, especially in story missions. I haven't found that yet to be the case. I haven't been level gated in the story itself. I've only been level gated in certain parts of the map. Now, I have seen certain missions. They're not story missions yet, but they're definitely side missions that your adventure rank has to be high enough to go on those missions, probably because they take place in an area of Teyvat in which you need a higher adventure rank. I don't know, guys. I'm loving this so far. It is crazy to me that this game can be played on a phone. It's crazy to me how long I've played it, how much stuff there is to do in the game for free. I haven't had to use any of the gacha mechanics. Now, I did pre-register for the game prior to the game's release, so I was able to get some currency to use some of the gacha mechanics, but the gacha mechanics haven't been kind of required so far. It seems like you can use them to get like artificially better in the game, but it's not necessary at this point. I'm just kind of blown away. I was really excited for this from some of the trailers that I saw, and really excited for its release. And then playing it yesterday, it felt so good. It felt like kind of a smaller, more compact Breath of the Wild with an actual through-line story that you're playing through as you go, actual story missions, actual voice-acted characters that are funny and interesting, that you want to keep playing as, that you want to learn more of. It's a super fun game so far. I'm definitely going to play more of it, hopefully finish it, and then hopefully I'll be able to get you guys a full review when I'm done. If you want to see the actual gameplay of when I played the game, check out my second channel, Java Akuma Let's Plays. I will link to it down in the description below. I'm going to play some more of it this week on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Java Akuma. Go over there and follow. You can watch me play more of this game over there. Thank you guys very much for coming by and watching. If you enjoyed the video today, please hit the like button, and also comment below with what your experience in Teyvat in Genshin Impact has been so far. Are you enjoying it as much as I am? Thanks once again, guys, for coming by, and we'll see you on the next video.